Yeah, guys and girls, welcome back to my YouTube channel on Anthony Kenneth Bishop. I hope you like the new icons. At the bottom I've got Anthony Kenneth Bishop, but I've got it in a sort of like a different diagram, sort of like a different template. So it's like a different format. There's different sort of writing formats you can use, like Times New Romans and all this, but I kind of like this where it's all kind of like bent a little bit. It's like slightly bent, but it's like it gives a sort of like a Frankenstein sort of sort of Frankenstein or Jekyll and Hyde sort of writing thing. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, welcome to the daily news. This is for Wednesday 17th of May. Today is the 18th. But I'm going to pretty much do it so it's all the way around. So we get some from yesterday, maybe some for today as well. Depends, because I want to do this as a sort of a long video. This is going to be around about 35 minutes. I'm actually playing Call of Duty Black Ops 3 on this video here. Been playing some zombies. I love zombies. They're pretty cool games. From Activision, I think it is, or is it Treyarch? Treyarch, I think it is actually, Treyarch. But I think Activision's behind it as well. So I can't wait for the new Call of Duty comes out this year though. World War II should be interesting. I don't know if it's when it comes out. I don't know if it's going to be called World War II Call of Duty, or if they're going to have a sort of like another name for it. But yeah. Anyway, let's get down to the news for the 17th of 2017, Wednesday, May the 17th, 2017. This one says here, this is the Sun for Greater Britain. Now, I might have to just do this one as another long video, because I've got 35 minutes apparently on there, or 33 now, so 2.5 minutes gone. Anyway, so yesterday's paper, front page paper, has a 8-page special inside. So apparently on Ian Brady, the serial killer or murderer or whatever you want to call him, the evilest man who's ever lived, died, I think it was 79 years old on Monday. Apparently killed 5 people, 5 children or something. Says here, keep evil Brady's ashes off the Moor. So basically, his dying wish was to actually have his ashes on the moors where his victims were buried, pretty much. And the undertakers and all that, they didn't want it to happen at all. Now, this is in the Sun's paper. And I was thinking as well, I don't know why, right? Sometimes they bring up about serial killers, murderers and rapists on sort of like on the front pages. It's like it's giving the, if you think about it, it's actually giving them what they want, because it makes them famous after they're dead. I mean, it's like that Jimmy Savile, for instance, that paedophile one. They found out not long after he was dead that he was doing, well actually they knew from the very start, from about 40-50 years ago, that he was like going around after children and all that kind of stuff in the schools and in the hospitals and that. And apparently they said he was a necrophiliac as well. Fucking terrifying actually if you think about it. But they always seem to bring them up on the news, or they bring about these like paedophile rings or the murderers and psycho serial killers, and I think it gives them, it kind of gives them like technically power even after they're dead, because then it still rubs it into the families of what they actually did and all that kind of stuff, and it kind of makes I don't know what you guys and girls think. Would you think it makes them sort of like iconic? Sort of, I mean, are they trying, not making them iconic, but trying, it's like the people are trying to make them icons in a way. trying to fashion them like sort of a fashionable entities and all that, even after they're dead. And I think that's disgrace, the way the papers do them. Even though they put, keep evil Brady's ashes off the moor. So basically, they got it right that he's evil, sick and all that shit. And actually, yeah, whatever you do, do not turn to page 3. Otherwise, you'll have some... What's this? Wife unsuspects 3. Giovanni suspect. What else? So basically, if we turn to page 4 and 5, what's this? Bid to prevent twisted final insult to victims. That's not just the victims are the final insult, it'd be an insult to the families as well of the victims. So it says here, bid to prevent twisted final insult. So they're trying to prevent it from happening for a final insult to the victims. Coroner refuses to release body over the Saddleworth fears. Brady's ashes banned from the moors. What's this? Beast artist's image of Brady in 2013. So they got like a picture of him in the papers where he looks really ill and sick, like he's on the verge of dying, even though he's dead now. Because he died on Monday, which was, what's that, 15th? Huh? Yeah. 15th, yeah. So, yeah. And this is by Dean Wilkins, Richard Moriarty, and Ruth Warrander. Says here, child killer Ian Brady's body will not be released until it is clear his ashes are not to be scattered on the moors where he buried the victims. The Munster's legal team confirmed he did not request such a ceremony. Coroner ruled the moors ashes ban is a victory for the family of Keith Bennett, whose body remains undiscovered. Thing is, right, you think with the technology that they've got now, they could actually build a sort of an underground scanner, like metal detectors, but like sort of bone detector for human remains. And then what they could do is scan it like an X-ray, where they can see through the dirt and stuff. They should make a dirt scanner. They should get either Microsoft to make some sort of gadget like that, or get Asus or Asus, I should say, or some company to build a big giant scanner, but it looks under the ground, looks as if there's any like sort of bodies, because I've seen them in films before where they use these. I forgot what movie it was now. They use a special scanner where they could look under the ground for like bodies and stuff. It's sort of a scanner, and it goes straight. All the details go straight to the computer. It's computer generatorized or something. For the family of Keith Bennett, whose body remains undiscovered, the psychopath Brady, 79, died on Monday evening at Ashworth Hospital, Merseyside, just hours after the Sun reported he was close to death, and we can today reveal he has barred the nursing staff who cared for him from attending his funeral. Opening his inquest yesterday, Senior Coroner Christopher Summer admitted he had no formal powers to dictate where Brady's ashes would be spread, but believed he had made the proper moral judgment. Brady, also known as Ian Stewart Brady, died of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It emerged speaking at Sefton Coroner's Court, Merseyside. Mr. Summer said he would release the body only when he had an insurance that the person who wishes to take responsibility for that funeral has a funeral director in place and has found a crematorium willing to cremate Stuart Brady's body. What's this? It is a sick twist to cause upset from beyond the grave. Well, it is, but that's the thing. It's like, it's disgusting. I don't know what the fuck to say about this, to be honest. What do you guys and girls make of this?
Bring the hanging back.
Yeah, I mean, my mum's like, we talk about we should bring back the executions in the UK. Bring like either the hanging back or bring a sort of like a lethal injection or something into the country.
You think all those people that's been killed, and yet the ones who've done it are still alive.
I know.
So if they,
I mean, if you think about it, you've just taken someone's life. If you've actually been found out that you actually did, or you've confessed that you've actually just killed someone, right? But then again, you could be lying for someone and actually didn't do anything. But if you've actually literally been caught in the act to kill someone, then in theory you've taken someone's life, so you should have your own life taken away.
They've got DNA now.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, we had DNA over 40 odd years ago back in the first place, but the thing is, with the establishment and all of that, setting people up for no goddamn reason, you got dodgy police. Some police out there who are dodgy and they like to put victims. They like to actually make something what it's not. But then, if you've actually been caught and you've done the murder, or you've killed someone, or you've blown loads of people up or something, you should be fucking killed there and then.
And that'll save you paying out all the food.
I know. I mean, come on. It was 8 billion or 8 million pounds they spent on him.
I mean,
they could have put that in the NHS. He also wanted his insurance that Brady's ashes will not be scattered on Saddleworth Moor. Yeah. The court heard Brady's health had declined in the past year and rapidly deteriorated in the last fortnight. On Thursday, he pulled out the nasal tube he had been fed through intermittently since going on hunger strike in 1999, and Ashworth hospital staff did not attempt to reinsert it. Brady did not wish to be resuscitated, and if he suffered a cardiac arrest and was pronounced dead at 6:02 p.m. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease is a condition that causes the right side of the heart to fail. Brady died in his room number 35 on the Newman ward at Ashwood Alby. Howard Murphy. Yeah.
They didn't have a chance, did they?
No, they didn't have a bloody chance. That's the thing. I don't know. So I don't know what you guys and girls make of this. It's kind of sick and twisted and stuff, but the papers do have to report on it, so other people knows what the people out there in the world are like. Actually, I think my thing's about to turn off in a couple of minutes, in 1 minute, because you get 15 minutes and I have to try and reset it again then. Was this a source said he knew he was dying for a while, but he was too weak to fight it. Brady had been ill for a long time, so basically he was suffering anyway, which is a good thing. To be honest, if you're a serial killer and that, you should have all the suffering and pain that you cause to the other people, their families. It's only fair. What's that old saying? An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But then again, like revenge and all that, we'll never bring them back. That's the only thing. So, yeah.
Well, if they got hands, it would save the government feeding them, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Save a lot of fucking money on the National Health Service as well. They could put that in the National Health Service. And so this is going to turn off for a second. I'll be right back in a second, guys and girls. Alright, so this one's just carrying on from this. from Ian Brady. Yeah, so this was actually quite a long article. It says here, Ashworth staff be allowed to attend Brady. Oh, actually, where is this? It has also emerged that he left detailed instructions about his funeral service with an order that no Ashworth staff to be allowed to attend Brady's, laid bare his hatred of police, medics, politicians, and the general public in a series of sickening letters. The only people he had respect for were gangland figures. He wanted his to be most talked about criminal funeral since the Craig twins died. He said in a letter to a pal, "I've made a simple arrangements and are in my own funeral and cremation legally bearing any Ashworth staff attending, barring actually, Ashworth staff attending, to project a false PR image of the administration in this penile cesspit. It's in the hands of my solicitors Brady and girlfriend Myra Hindley." Oh, so it was his girlfriend, yeah. Who died in prison in 2002, tortured and murdered 5 children between 1963 and 65, burying the bodies on Saddleworth Moor. Pauline Reed, 16, and John Kilbride, 12, were taken in 1963. Keith Bennett, 12, and Leslie Ann Downey, 10, went missing in 1964. Edward Evans, 17, was killed in 1965. Brady and Hindley were jailed for 3 of the murders in 1966, and they later confessed to the other 2. Keith's sister Sylvia Moran, 70, said of Brady, "I am glad he is dead. He's where he belongs, with the devil." Too right. The brother of the victim, Keith Bennett, yesterday vowed to never give up searching for his remains. Alan Bennett posted a poignant message online hours after Ian Brady was declared dead. He wrote on their Facebook, "Thank you to everyone for your sincere words and thoughts. We will carry on doing whatever we can to bring Keith home, and your support means more than I could ever put into words." When one supporter urged him to never give up, Alan replied, "Never will." Keith, 12, was abducted by Brady and Myra Hindley right in Manchester in 1964. He was sexually assaulted and strangled, then buried at Saddleworth Moor. His remains have never been found. Greater Manchester Police said the case will not be closed despite Brady's death. Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear that it won't be closed. I mean, that guy needs some closure for his brother and all that.
Of course he does. And also that boy needs to be done properly.
Yeah, and needs a proper burial and all that.
For his family.
I think
Isn't that the one where his poor mother died and wasn't able to know any more about him, yeah?
Oh, I don't know if...
I think that was the one where his mother had already died.
I don't know, I thought what about their dad or something? I don't know.
I don't know.
Because I said somewhere their dad turned into drinking, or turned to drinking, but that's enough to drive you to the drink anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Murder, shit like that going on. But
I hope his brother finds him.
Yeah, I do hope so as well, to be honest. What do you guys and girls think? Do you think he'll find his brother? But
I do believe the hands should be brought in for justice of all the people, you know.
Yeah, they need justice. I mean, they need justice.
If you do a murder, then you should be brought in and murdered. So you have your life took away.
Yeah.
If you took a child's life, or anyone's life actually, then you should have your own life took away.
Yeah.
I think really why they stopped all this hanging was because years ago, sometimes people got hanged or put out, and they found out years later they'd done the wrong person.
Yeah, and the wrong one gets took out
so
instead.
So that is the reason why it was all stopped.
Yeah. It's just strange, really. I mean, why would people want to go around and fucking kill people, or children, for instance, in the first place? It's fucking sick. Or do anything to children, in fact.
Yeah.
Just the world, I don't know. It's kind of crazy, the world in that we live in, but we all have to try and cope in some sort of way. And I get the point why people turn to the drink and stuff to try and get rid of the pain and all that. But the thing is, it doesn't solve the problem. Like I say, it doesn't solve the problem. And like when people take drugs and stuff to try and cope with that,
that don't solve the problem.
Yeah, that doesn't solve the problem either. It kind of makes the problem even worse than what it should be. Like, you see, I'm more of an activist in the way that I don't like drugs. I don't think they're good. I think there is some drugs out there for the actual doctors, and they do work. But that's for the doctors to come up with the medication and all the tablets. But
we've had families who's done all of it, and that's with drugs, alcohol, and cigarettes, and that is why we don't believe in any of it.
Yeah.
And we see all sides.
Thing is, if people, I mean, like they say, if you were in our shoes, then, and you were looking through the eyes of what we see on a daily basis or non-daily basis, or what goes on.
This is why we've seen it all with our own eyes, with our own family.
It kind of changes
your own brothers, your sisters, what your dad as well was like, and because of being able to see what they've all done, that's why we know what to do.
It kind of changes the perspective view on life. Like, if you think about just the way it is and it isn't, is and isn't. Like,
your dad had thrombosis, didn't he?
Yeah, thrombosis in both legs.
And that was through
cigarettes and smoking. And to be honest, he suffered through the pains and all that.
And by the time he wanted something
done, it was too late.
It was too late, and he was crying because he wanted something done.
Yeah, and then people will end up saying they get to the end of the deathbed, and then they wonder why it's too late.
And people who take it all themselves, they think they were just having a go at them, but we're not.
Yeah, we're not having a go.
We've seen it with our own eyes.
And then people will say to us, oh, well, we can do what we like and stuff. We got free will. Well, technically you haven't, because then there's...
But then the other thing you've got to think about is while you're having these drugs, you're having the cigarettes, you're having the alcohol.
No, but the thing is...
And when you become really bad through taking all these things, who's got to look after you when you can't walk? It's your family.
Or when you're like a zombie.
Yeah, it's your family.
Well, it's not just family, is it? It's like the National Health Service has to look after it. It's like every time I go and watch some TV on the news and stuff, like, and I watch the news, right? And I see it nearly every Saturday night. Thursdays and Saturdays are the worst. Thursdays, Fridays and Saturdays, sometimes even Sundays, are the worst. When you see, right, people who are drinking alcohol, right, and they're in the pubs, they're with their friends, having a laugh, suddenly that laughter turns into a fight, and then they end up getting injured, someone gets injured. Obviously, someone's going to get injured, there's always going to be a sort of like a stigma around it, right? Someone's going to get injured, and then what happens next? What happens to injured parties? They end up going down to the hospital, right? And then who has to look after them? Oh, that's it. The doctors and nurses. the ones who got less doctors and nurses on it now because of the National Health Service. And then, what do they do as well? What do these injured party do? Oh, that's it. They start on the staff.
Or beat the police up.
I'll beat the police up.
So then the police, the doctors and nurses could all be doing a proper job, something else, for someone who's really ill.
Yeah.
And the ambulance people, they've got to put up with it. And these sort of things make me so
And
angry.
you could say, okay, I'm a taxpayer, and I pay certain amounts of money, so I deserve to go out on a Saturday night. I deserve to have a drink, and I deserve to have fights and stuff, because that's the freedom of to. Well, you don't have freedom to.
I mean, let's be honest, right? You've got all these veteran tax and everything you've got to pay. If you've got an extra room through the Conservatives or Tories, whatever you call them, yeah, then they don't really care about any of you. She don't deals with the people who's out on the streets. I've seen them at night.
I've got addictions.
Yeah, I've seen them at night when I've been out. And I've seen them sleeping in doorways and everything. And I've even spoken to some of the homeless, right? But she's not helping them. She don't care. She's got a nice bed to go on at night time. She don't care about the ones on the streets. Now, I believe myself that maybe if you helped to get the labour in, I believe you would get more done. But then again,
It's the way things go, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but that's going to be everyone's choices. Right?
Everyone's got to make their mistakes.
If they don't want to trust the Labour, which I think would be better, then that's up to them.
Yeah,
and I know through talking to doctors and nurses, they would also rather have
they're
Labour
understaffed and underpaid.
and they all reckon they'd be better off with Labour. But then that's to do with everybody else, what they believe. No, they got to do what they believe.
Yeah. So what's this? Alright, hang on. Okay, so next, right, we'll do another couple more because we've got another 8 minutes to go. Hang on, what?
Later on, we can talk about the town hall that are going to lose a lot of jobs in the next couple of years, and it's all down in the paper.
Yeah, so in Western paper, I know, apparently they're going to, the town hall is going to get rid of some of its staff.
Yeah, we'll talk about that tonight.
Yeah, so we'll do that as another video topic. Anyway, in the Sun's paper as well, so we got evil Brady's ashes off the moors, so they don't want them on the moors, which I see is good thing, because why would you want it next to the fucking victims?
Oh God, it's.
I mean, it's like he's actually just coming back from the dead, sort of a ghost, just to haunt everybody again. So it's like kind of.
And I mean, you've got these other ones.
Sick bastards.
The other sick people, like what's his name, Sutcliffe.
Oh, Peter Sutcliffe. Was he dead or he's still alive?
He's alive. He's in prison, isn't he? And then you got that.
Oh yeah, it's like the Jack the Ripper or something.
Yeah, and then there was that West family, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fred West.
I mean,
died.
they never.
And his wife's in prison, and I think myself, they should be got rid of.
Yeah, well, like they it's like that Jack the Ripper. They never knew who he was. Some people thought he was sort of a doctor or something. Like a sort of a Dr. Death. And then you had that bloke who was years going back, was his name Harold Shipman?
Yeah.
Yeah, going around with the old age pensioners, giving them a jab, putting them out their misery. Or any person, actually. It actually went to all the people and anyone.
Old age pensioners, God. And I'm an old age pensioner.
And they called him Dr. Death.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's some sick fucking serial killers out there.
I suppose there's one in every town or city.
Well, I don't know.
Well, you don't know. That's why I said you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. Right, anyway, in more Sun Wednesday news for May the 17th, because I'm almost finished, I've got about 5 minutes left and 41 seconds, or just over 41 seconds, actually. This one's to do with Google's GPU boost, or GP boost. Googling symptoms is good for the relationship between a patient and a GP. Oh, so it's GP, not Google's. Oh, actually, it is to do with Google, actually, I think. Right, it's kind of cut out for a second then, apparently, on there. So, here we go. Right, so... GP studies suggest searching the internet for information was thought to upset doctors, but Belgian researchers found more than half of patients still went to their GPs and felt more confident in them after going online. They wrote, it may lead to a better mutual understanding of symptoms and diagnosis. The study of 718 Flemish patients aged 18 to 75 was published in the British Journal of General Practice. You see, when I went to the hospital, actually, we found that there was hardly any staff in there, and the staff who were in there, they were talking about bloody all kinds of stuff in there. They weren't really interested in, like, the patients. They were kind of on about their booths, their wages, that they weren't getting any. And I think, to be honest, yes, they weren't getting any, probably because they're not doing any bloody work. So, I mean, yeah, they were just sitting there talking, having a laugh, and talking about Theresa May and how much money she gets a day, per day. I'm thinking, well, at least she's doing some work, and they're not. So, it's the way things go, I'm afraid. But the thing is, they were understaffed. There was loads of people coming to the hospital, and yeah, way understaffed. So if you ain't got the staff to look after the patients, then you're going to wait a very, very long time. And we waited from, what was it, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, till, what was it, like 9 o'clock?
Results, wasn't it?
Yeah, to get my blood results, I know.
Because it's at night time.
And then they did my health check over and all that, and heart and all that kind of stuff. That was 3 weeks ago now. That. Anyway, does hell for loners? What? Does hell for loners? Loneliness may lead to poor sleep, a study suggests. Experts quizzed young adults on their feelings of isolation and how long it takes them to doze off, as well as sleep duration and disturbances. Those who felt most lonely reported worse sleep quality. Professor Louise Asensonot of King's College London said diminished sleep of quality is one of the many ways loneliness gets under the skin. Our findings underscore the importance of early approaches to target negative thoughts. Tired and ugly, it says, page 22. So that's more on that. Longest trial over. A couple have been found guilty of 1.7 million property fraud after the longest criminal trial in UK legal history. Edwin McLaren, 52, and wife Lorraine were convicted of a scam to dupe hard-up people into signing over their homes following a 320-day trial at the Glasgow's High Court. They will be sentenced later. Detective Superintendent Andy Lawson said this has been one of the largest, most complicated property fraud investigations ever. A number of victims have been left distraught, penniless and homeless. Bloody hell. And finally, was this an RAF Reaper drone halted a gruesome public execution by IS. It unleashed a Hellfire missile as crews operating in remotely spied 2 shackled prisoners being led to their deaths. The men had just been unloaded from a van in front of a baying mob, which the missile avoided. Instead, a nearby roof was targeted, taking direct hit and killing one of the 2 armed members of the terror cult standing guard. The explosion sent the crowd fleeing in Abu Kamel, Syria. The last night, the prisoners' fate was unclear after the drone pilots lost sight of them in chaos. A source has said it was like something from Robin Hood. These guys faced certain death, but unknown to everyone, the RAF were watching and ready to act. The drones were on reconnaissance missions and is thought to have been piloted via satellite from RAF. Anyway, guys and girls, I'm almost finished. If you enjoyed this daily news for May the 17th, 2017, do like, favourite, subscribe, and if you think Brady's ashes should be on the moors or not on the moors, do comment below. And cheers all for watching. Have a lovely, lovely day, and catch you all later, guys and girls.